Alright, good morning ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be trying this thing out again, the Ecliptics machine. I just want to see how it works, and I want to see if we can actually dedicate actually dedicate 30 minutes to this machine. But I just want to see if it even works or not. Also maybe because everything's compromised. I want to see if we actually can run on this today. Okay, this thing sucks. Fuck off. Also, this morning has like been absolutely the most shittiest. It's so annoying. By the way, we literally woke up like an hour early, but this morning's just been absolutely shit. Like, what a terrible morning. Like, one, it took so long to get ready. Second, the stupid ass Delica can't even start. Like, the second this morning and the humid weather, the wireless keys don't even fucking start. And the car won't start. And I had to spend like 3 minutes constantly pressing the button on and off until it finally started the engine. Because like, I guess when it's like humid and cold, the Delica's wireless keys failed signal with the engine or some retarded thing. So I'm gonna have to change vehicles again because that was unacceptable this morning. Absolutely unacceptable. Failed to start, wasted annoying time, and then also yeah, the mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are just annoying as well. Like literally, like there's like literally two mosquito bites on my arm, and it's like, bro, we're not gonna run. Yeah. So that ecliptic machine sucks. Reason is because it doesn't feel natural at all. And yeah, bro, legit got bit by two mosquitoes somehow on the left arm. I don't understand. And it's like, it's not even the blood they take, it's just the annoying spit that the mosquitoes have. They spit on your skin and it inflames it. And it's like not even worth it because it stays there for like weeks. I mean, I guess on the positive side, I'm not like dying from Ebola, right? Also, I was going to think of editing the ARC video, but I tried editing it last night and it just doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel natural at all. Like, I tried to edit the Scorched Earth video and it really just didn't feel natural. So, what my plan is to probably control the audio a bit more. Yes, I'm going into research mode. Thank you. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, gonna go into research mode today. It's a very, I don't know, this morning's just annoying as hell, so only way to satisfy my brain is to do some research because I need to think about, I need to think about how to, hold on. Okay, we're back. But we're gonna be doing research mode because I need to think about how I'm gonna deal with that ARC footage because I analyzed it last night and it seems like I definitely need to like adjust the audio because yeah, I'm gonna have to do research here. Today's gonna not shut up. I'm done researching. It didn't really help me much. I just researched some things on OBS and looks like I have to really do some work. It's gonna be so annoying. Oh no, it shouldn't be because I can easily set it up properly. I'm gonna have to do a lot of changes to the. I might actually have to bring back the. I might have to bring back the Blue Yeti mic to the from the Gulag. I might just have to bring back the Blue Yeti mic because yesterday's footage was definitely I could hear the keyboard and mouse quite a lot, and the ducking is not good enough for the audio, so I need to change that as well. And yeah, doing it in 100, I prefer doing it in just a raw series. Yeah, not gonna lie, rugby kind of looks crazy. Just saying. There's like a sport team on the TV right now, right? And looks this team in rugby looks really scary, really scary because they're literally using the heaviest dudes to just straight up just run into the people. Like they're not even passing it around. They're just like running it down. That is a scary rugby team. Not gonna lie. This is a rugby team that's literally just got massive ass dudes, and they're not even like passing it down. They're just straight up running it down. Like they're literally running to tackle. Like no. These guys have the balls. They're not even passing it around. They're just straight up running it down. And I mean, it looks like it's working. I mean, hey, it makes sense because oh, never mind. I just lost. Oh, R.I.P. Okay, wow. Never mind. What actually happened was I was just talking about how this rugby team was straight up just running it down. Like they're slow as hell, but they're straight up just running it down and like tackling every single like they're like basically just playing bulldozer simulator, right? But the moment they lose the ball, the enemy team just sprints down the entire field and wins. And they just did that. Interesting. A heavy team versus a light team. The heavy team definitely dominate because they tackle every single time they have the ball, right? But the agility, oh, whatever, you're shit, fuck off. I'm not in a very, no, whatever. Today's just been, I don't even know, what am I even thinking about? I don't even know what I'm thinking about right now. It's just, for some reason, this morning's just, must have been the car not starting. I don't actually know. I think it's just, yeah, it's definitely the car this morning that I would say annoyed me the most. It's just so unreliable. The moment it's slightly humid and cold, it just doesn't. It's not like it can't start. It's just that the stupid keys in automatic security doesn't allow the car to ignite. It's just so dumb. And it's not like it's the first time this has happened. It's a pattern I've noticed. It's like when it's slightly damp or cold, the keys on the Delica just don't. I mean, it activates and unlocks the car, but it just doesn't. The engine won't start. Oh no, it does start, but then the security system just fails to stop. Like just what the hell? It just fails to start it. And even if you use the keys manual mode, the the, the car engine won't start. But it can unlock the car though. So it's like it's just so dumb, super unreliable, and yeah, definitely not good for the mornings. I'm gonna have to swap to a different vehicle. But you know what? There's no there's no light without dark because the Delic is really good at automated door, very good for like the automated door handles and stuff. But and it's good for off-roading. But this morning was just unacceptable on all levels. But but the doors are good. But besides that, I'm not sure what's worth it. Although there's one thing I'm kind of curious now. I wonder what 12 speed feels, no, 13 speed feels like. 14 speed. 14 speed feels like a goddamn earthquake. Speed 12 is also kind of like an earthquake. But speed 14 was definitely like a full on kind of sprint. And 12 speed was slightly faster than number 11. But I really highly doubt we can maintain 14 speed for 30 minutes. The entire treadmill shakes like an earthquake. So it's definitely something to think about. Okay, well, at the last 5 minutes or so, I decided to run at 12 speed. And here's what the stats are supposed to look like, anyways. Yesterday's treadmill was a bit scuffed. And also, I didn't actually show the time yesterday, so I had to manually time it myself because I blocked it off the phone. But yeah, we were at like 2.5, and then I just decided to run at 12 speed and hit 3.2, which is like 5 kilometers. So we ran at like 12 speed for less than 5 minutes. It wasn't that bad. It basically just felt like running at 11. Only thing is that the blisters definitely, it popped again. Why is there a fly here? How did a fly get in here? Yeah, if we run next time, we really can't use headphones or the mic because this thing was jiggling like crazy. By the way, we're kind of running out of meat, so I might have to resort to my my macro strategy. Macro strategy was what I usually use when meat was low, and recently I've been using the meat that I froze, and now we're running out. So I'm honestly just gonna go back to the macro strategy if yeah, because it is what it is. Just that it just takes some time to prep. Yeah, it's all about prep. As much as you can complain about prep time and cooking time, it just matters on how much you care. How much do you care? And then, yeah. So if you care a lot, you'll be fine spending time meal prepping and calculating and cooking, right? If you don't care, you'll just eat whatever and then fuck off. It's all about caring, anyways. That's what sensei's always taught me. How much do you care? Because if you really cared, then, you know, then you'll do it. If you don't care, then don't do it. It's all about caring. You can do anything you want if you care. Oh, well, yeah, the mosquito problem's annoying as hell. I'm gonna have to figure out a solution to that. Realistic solution I could only think of is moving the dip machine back inside. Then have to change up the gulag again. Yeah, because especially the weather more mosquitoes come out. And my original strategy yesterday, no, usually when I do dips and pull-ups outside, I wear a puffer jacket because then the mosquitoes can only get my fingers, which have like is harder because I'm always moving it. and I'm wearing long pants and stuff, right? Mosquitoes can't really get me. But yesterday was like so extremely hot that I had to take off the jacket. And then when I took off the jacket, they got me. Luckily though, the mosquitoes didn't really bite me in such a spot. Well, actually, I would literally hate if they bit my forearm because forearms always being used in calisthenics. And it's just mosquitoes aren't worth it, man. I hate them so much. I know hate's a strong word, but like mosquitoes, genuinely, just the trade-off is not worth it. They take a small amount of blood, but they leave like a week long bite. I guess on the bright side, there's no Ebola or whatever. Yeah, again, it's not even the blood they take. It's just the stupid spit that they like spit on your skin, right? They take your blood, but then that skin part is literally damaged for like months, and it's itchy. It's like just take the blood. That's all you need. Why do you have to? I'm literally not even joking. I literally got bit on the once. I don't even know when it was, but like straight up on my left foot. I literally got two mosquito bites here, and that was a long, long time ago. And the carcass is still there. Like it's like slightly brown there. Maybe it's a snake or something. Joking, there's no snakes, but I'm just saying that mosquito bites literally last for so long. And like even if you get rid of all of the stagnant water around, they'll still come around. And also, if you have plants that repel them, they'll just fly over the plants anyways. Especially because they're always in the morning. The only time they're not appearing is during like the full sun bright. And guess what? When it's fully sun and bright, no, when it's fully sun out and bright, that's when we get sun. And that's when the mosquitoes come out because when it's so hot and sunny, the mosquitoes don't come out. I think, well, I've never been bitten by a mosquito during the full sun out, but like in the mornings when there's no sun or cloudy or even rain, they're just there. But at the same time, I don't even know how I'm going to move the dip machine back inside because when I do pull up, I go above the roof line or the ceiling. So I have no idea how I'm going to pull that off. So what are the problems today? I need to change the audio. Oh no, I need to change the OBS settings on the ARC series. We're probably not going to do much edits, just be raw again and just continue making the law because that's all I can really think about. Maybe start filming cinematically as well, but yeah. To a degree, filming cinematically almost feels like I'm acting to a degree because every shot takes like, since it's only just me, it'll be like recording myself. The camera angles would be like 5 different angles just for 1 second of footage, 3 seconds of footage. Like opening a door, for example. I'm probably gonna open the door like 5 times just to move the camera in and out. And these blisters are not helping me with the leg press at all. What is I don't exactly know what's going on today. I think I think today, this morning, the only reason is, I think the only reason I'm annoyed, well, logically thinking, is because everything, no, there's just minor problems, but they're stacked up onto each other. That's exactly why. If it was just, if the problems itself was just by themselves, then it wouldn't be such a big deal, but I think this morning, the problems just stacked upon each other. So it just like, there's like multiple stings, which makes it annoying. One sting's fine, two stings fine, but like it's just stacked up upon each other. It's like rubbing salt on the wound, or whatever they call it. It's like woke up early and the phone was like disappeared or something. Spent a few minutes finding it. My fault. The mosquito bites were not very friendly in the morning. yeah. Second, the car wasn't turning on or the engine wasn't working. And then the Ecliptics machine sucked. Like tried it out for like literally 1 minute and then left it because it was annoying as hell because it didn't feel natural. And then yeah, that's really about it. Blisters, I guess you could say. So little problems stacked up on each other, and now we just need to think of solutions to fix them. So solution to the van is to operate a different vehicle, a more reliable vehicle during the mornings. Then we'll never go back in the Ecliptics machine again because it has proven itself useless compared to running or walking. Next problem is the mosquitoes, which is yeah, especially since the mornings now are getting hotter again. Like before, the mornings would be cold, and I could do the dips in a jacket without overheating. But the fact that it's getting really hot now in the mornings, wearing a jacket is almost pointless because I'll overheat without a jacket, and the mosquitoes they'll come out unless it's really sunny. If it's fully sunny, the mosquitoes don't come out. Also, oh yeah, and the Blue Yeti mic problem as well. No, not Blue Yeti mic, but the audio problem for the video. To fix that, I'm gonna have to probably bring the Blue Yeti mic from the Gulag. I mean, it's just no light without dark because Blue Yeti mic is definitely annoying, but it's OG. It's just that it's like in the way of the screen, but the audio is superb. Oh yeah, and editing the ARC video isn't very nice. It's like TikTok brain. Actually, no, it's different because in ARC, right? ARC is always constant action, so making it like sped up is really annoying because you don't really know what kind of parts you want to cut off. And plus, when I'm streaming, I'm constantly talking no matter what because that's how I am when I stream. I'm always talking because I know how to talk to myself and keep live viewers, talking and stuff, right? Monologuing. But then, for example, for the Earthlog, the gym videos, I can edit them a lot better because one, when I'm drinking water, it's straight up just drinking water, no talking, and when I'm doing reps, I'm not talking either, and I can just fast forward it because it's the same repeated action. I edit the gym videos based on audio anyways. Literally just based on audio waves. I just edit it via that way. I don't even listen to myself. Well, I might, but I rarely listen to myself because I talk it out. Because sometimes it provide really good value. It looks like for this entire week. No, this entire month, the temperature is going to be very, very hot. Like literally, the mornings are already above 10. Because back in the before, obviously, previous weeks or so, in the morning it would be under 10 degrees, right? So the dips are fine in the jacket, but now in the morning it's literally 15, 16, 16, 19 degrees, above 10. Literally in the morning it's already above like 12. So wearing a jacket isn't going to work out. And the mosquitoes are roaming free. So either I put the machine inside, and I'm going to have to change up the Gulag system because the Gulag's desk is in the way. And I also have that shelf. But the Blue Yeti, the little shelf kind of setup I have is quite good in ergonomics because since I'm a lot shorter, normal desks don't have the same kind of ergonomics. And that desk I made, that shelf desk setup I made, the ergonomics are really good because it's like so low that my feet are actually planted. Only downside is that there's not much space. It's very compact, but it's working like a charm when it comes to no when there's no Bluetooth mic. It works like a charm for everything else. It works really well with the Mac Mini. I think it's because I put all of the messy cables on the top shelf of it, right? And it really doesn't bother me because it's not in the way. It's almost perfect, but when I think about adding a Bluetooth mic, it's like, where am I gonna put it? I'm gonna have to, and also the disc part as well. We had that disc for like unboxings and things, right? I had plans for that large disc, but I rarely use it. I literally use it for laundry. That's straight up the only thing I use the disc for. I don't even make videos there because I don't know what to really do there. What the fuck, bro? Who does this? The spray bottle is literally like, oh my goodness, look at that. The spray bottle is straight up leaking. I'm gonna have to do them a favor and throw it away for them. We're not gonna do hip thrust today. No hip thrust today. We need to do leg curls or something. We gotta work on the. Oh, isn't it great? The leg curl's literally broken. And hamstrings. Hamstrings. This is this is still only the glutes. Right, the hamstring machine's broken. And the tripod's moving a bit crazy because the legs are still expanded. And looks like the leg curl's being used, the second leg curl's being used by someone else. You know, screw it, I'm gonna just do my glutes then. Okay, I guess today's gonna just be the glute machine, this thing here, and then we're also gonna do we're gonna do lunges because lunges is always pretty based. What did I just hit? This is kind of like a leg press exercise too. This is gonna be an efficiency applied to it. I don't exactly know what's happening today. I'm super like just out of it. Super out of it today. It's like I think it's just because there's a lot of problems that I have found out, so we have to analyze the solution to them. Problem solving situations. I think the only reason I'm thinking a lot is because I'm really thinking about. I think the main thing is definitely the dip machine outside. I mean, realistically, the only solution I can think of for the dip, really depends because the dip machine is like, okay, problem is really just the mosquitoes now that I think about it. There's nothing wrong with the dip machine. What's wrong is just the mosquitoes. Because before the regime used to be doing the dips outside in the morning cold, right? Sometimes the mosquitoes are there, sometimes they're not, but I can do the dips and pull-ups quite efficiently because it's nice and cool. But now that the temperature is going to be 10 plus for like the next couple of weeks. But if I'm streaming as well, I will start streaming in the afternoons instead. The mosquitoes don't appear during the midday, like when it's just fully sun up. And I guess I could also get sun as well. Can you get sun as well? Do I have to change my entire regime? I might have to change the entire regime. Might have to adjust the regime for efficiency sakes. But the current regime right now is literally just train, eat, and then edit, and then train, and then stream. It also depends on the type of food we eat. Because if we eat rice, or if we eat some kind of heavier volume food, then the regime ultimately changes from the training regime. No, the training takes the training takes longer. And if I really want to stream, I want to have a consecutive. I do need like a pattern recognition of the time I'm live. But honestly, my best time during live is probably in the afternoon. But I have to eat food as fast as possible in the mornings because I need that full digestion time in order to run. And especially since during the holidays, I had to change the regime a bit. Well, no, I had to cancel the streaming for a while because busy. But now that it's free again, we can go back to streaming. What's better though, streaming or YouTube videos? I don't know. I definitely kind of, to a degree, envy Markiplier, Jacksepticeye. No, no. It's like Jackseptic Jacksepticeye and Markiplier don't edit their own videos. I think they did at the beginning, but at the beginning, their editing was basically adding intro and outro. No, because back in the old YouTube days, I think the editing was pretty really just ecosystems in YouTube as well. But definitely, what I definitely enjoy is Queso. Queso's kind of like a really I kind of envy his style because it's like old days, and definitely it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like brain rot because his videos on YouTube are literally just the VODs from his live stream, and his live stream is literally no editing. There's no like need to be kind of. There's no how do I exactly put this into words? You just be yourself. That's what he is. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm like mixing between my setups, the regime, and streaming. And especially because I don't even copy much. I don't even copy, but I do know that when I do my video games and streaming, right? I literally monologue the entire time because I know how to. Because it's pretty easy. You just basically talk about what you're doing. You literally just talk about what you're doing and non-stop talking, right? And I could easily do that because I think that's just what I usually do. It's not like I trained it because if I literally watch myself in my old days, I literally did the same thing. I think what's happening today is just I'm thinking about efficiency and like optimizing something. Optimizing because, yeah, straight up just optimizing and thinking about logic. Yeah, that's what's happening today. First of all, is the setup and audio for the recordings. I'm gonna have to change the audio settings, kind of, for the live streams, which means I might have to change setups again to optimize for streaming and stuff, right? Right now it's optimized. Right now it's optimized for like currently the setup's optimized for like the Nightmare. It's optimized for talking. It's optimized for editing, and it's somewhat optimized for gaming streaming. However, now that I've looked into the actual audio, oh no, now that I'm doing live streams again that require audio properly, I need to think about the audio because the Island series on Arc, the style of that recording was basically going to be using a voiceover, which means that the audio didn't actually matter. The voice audio didn't matter because it's going to be using voiceovers on what I did. But, that's not really that's just copying someone else. I prefer just really going raw out and talking on what I do. And that requires me to change the regime setup. I know there's multiple things battling my mind. It's the setup and also just the regime when it comes to the goddamn just the mosquitoes have plagued my brain or something. Because I'm really, oh no, it's not the mosquitoes, it's the weather as well combined. Weather, season, the weather and season combined. Okay, the car problem's pretty easy to solve. I already know how to fix this car problem. I would just change to a more reliable car because that was unacceptable this morning. Absolutely unacceptable. And then for the setup, I'm gonna have to probably. I think it's just. I think it really is just too many. It's just multiple ecosystems plaguing my brain. That's what's happening. Now I just got to figure out where I'm gonna do my lunges. I just put it here. Whatever. The lunges are gonna have an efficiency as well. I don't know. Today just feels. I'm just really thinking a lot. Really thinking a lot. Water's nearly done too, but I think it's because I'm trying to optimize for multiple things at the same time. That's why. It's because, everything's gray, not black and white. So when I want to optimize one ecosystem, it will do something else. It's like if I want to optimize for streaming, the regime's gonna take a big hit to it. But if I optimize the regime, the streaming will get affected. So I need to figure out which one matters the most. And obviously, well, training regime matters the most. Okay, well, you know what? We're getting there. Logical thinking. What is my priorities? The regime or streaming? The regime. Training regime takes number one priority, and then I need a training regime takes number one priority, and then we're also gonna training regime takes number one priority. Food takes second priority. Well, that's part of the training regime. We need to check our weight, by the way. The water's done. It is. We need to think logically here. What matters the most? Yeah, training regime first. Food matters second, which is part of the training regime. Only thing is though is training regime and food definitely take up. Well, again, it depends on the food, right? Because the food will delay the training regime because we're bloated, so we won't be able to do it as fast as possible. We'll have to have like a couple hours period to edit or to digest. I don't even know where we are. Yesterday we were like 68. We're probably like 69 or not, just the same. I'm gonna have to go revive my bag. My bag's ordered down there, but I see a somewhat optimal spot. Golden hour sucks today. I can't. Oh no, golden hour's not too bad, but I definitely have noticed that lunges.
There you go, rusty monitor arm. I just hook it to the disc. Boom. It actually is rusty though. it is straight up rust, but it's okay. Old Blue Yeti mic, just like that. Put it here, and yeah, editing, boom, boom, put that here, and that should be about it. Yeah. Quick update on the PC. It's chilling. Cables are a mess, but that's the whole point of the setup. You know, the setup's really good. Just do the work here, you know, do that stuff, and then you kind of just have the cables up here. So at the bottom, there's not really any kind of mess. It's just a few cables. Ethernet cable. This is for the headphones, which is right there. This is, I haven't plugged it in yet, but here. And yeah, all of the messy stuff here. You know, you've got the hard drives and Mac Mini working hard, very hot. Well, that's actually really hot. And yeah, these are the old tech up there. And that's really about it. Just a little section. Pretty neat. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So I know that unfortunately this morning the camera kind of fell off. So yeah, the reason it fell off was because it had the power bank on it, and then when I moved around, the phone and the power bank fell off the tripod completely, and then I kind of just left. So to repay you guys for the missed out content, we're going to be doing a Mr. Nightmare. Now, as you can see, we've got the Blue Yeti mic ready to go. So yeah, I guess we'll just start it. So what should we do? Last time we did New Year's horror stories, and that was pretty bad. That is extremely disturbing. That is extremely disturbing. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty disturbing. That is just okay. Anyways, let's do this one. 3 disturbing, very true horror stories. Let's go. Let's do it. Right? Y'all know the drill. Mr. Nightmare is kind of the GOAT for now, but of course, if we ever run out of content, we'll simply just think. This is also a good test to test out the Blue Yeti mic. Yep. Alright, here we go. It kind of blocks my screen a tiny bit. It's alright. Well, it actually does. I moved the mic over here.
Before we get into today's stories, I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, ZocDoc.
Thank you.
A lot of the stories in Nightmare.
Story 1 by Nature Guy, 1992.
I went camping alone last winter with my dog Roscoe, and it's something I'll never do again.
Well, why not?
I had taken a few days off work and wanted to get away from people. I loaded my truck with my gear and drove up a long, narrow trail that cut deep into a state forest. The road was barely maintained, covered in packed snow and ice, and there were no other cars anywhere. After driving for almost an hour, I parked at a small pull-off that looked like it hadn't been used in a long time. From there, I hiked another 20 minutes with my pack and Roscoe until I reached a small clearing surrounded by thick trees.
So far, so good. I don't see no problem with that. You know, shout out to Outdoor Boys. Just sounds like an Outdoor Boys adventure, but, you know, you got a dog, so... You know, with a companion, with a dog, you should be alright, you know? You got a dog.
The snow was deep and untouched. There were no footprints or signs of anyone else being around recently. That was what I wanted.
Yep.
I set my pack down, cleared a spot for a tent, and let Roscoe wander around while I worked. He stayed close, sniffing the snow in the trees and just jumping around playing. I pitched the tent, staked it down hard because the ground was frozen, and laid out my sleeping pad and winter-rated sleeping bag inside. I knew it was going to be a cold night, well below freezing, so I layered properly. Thermal base layers, thick socks, a fleece, and a heavy jacket stayed on even after camp was set. Once the tent was ready, I gathered dead wood and built a small fire pit.
Nice, based.
I started a fire and let it burn down until I had a steady flame. I cooked dinner over it, just a simple meal,
Yep.
and sat on a log eating while Roscoe lay near the fire.
Hey, life right there.
The woods were quiet in that deep winter way where sound feels almost non-existent.
It sounds...
I learned a long time ago from my dad that snow actually absorbs sound. After I ate, Roscoe suddenly stood up and started barking toward the trees. It didn't concern me at first. Deer were everywhere out there, and he had barked at them before. I told him to relax, and he did after a minute, sitting back down. I checked the time and decided I'd stay up a bit longer by the fire before turning in. I always carried a handgun when camping in remote places.
Okay, based.
And it was holstered at my side like it always was.
Nice.
I felt fine at that point.
Yeah.
About 20 minutes
When
later,
you got a dog, you got a gun, chilling in a, you know, that sounds pretty chill to me, not gonna lie.
Roscoe started barking again, louder this time. Then I heard it too. Footsteps moving through the snow somewhere out in the woods. I stood up and listened. The steps stopped, then started again. Roscoe went from barking to growling, then suddenly went silent.
What?
He stood staring straight ahead toward the trees.
A bear?
That was when I felt uneasy. I followed his gaze and saw a shape at the edge of the tree line. Someone was standing there, half hidden in the darkness, just barely lit by the fire. I called out, saying that he scared me, and telling Roscoe it was okay. The figure didn't move at first. Then he stepped forward slightly, enough for me to see that it was a man.
What?
He asked what I was doing out there, that deep in the woods. His tone wasn't friendly. I told him I was just getting out into nature with my dog. He didn't respond right away. He just stood there watching me.
Not gonna lie, one of the worst things you would ever encounter when camping is another human. Bears can be kind of scary, mooses, but probably a human would be the most scariest thing. Yeah, because humans are more intellectual and you don't even know. Again, so far, it kind of sounds like the context is, you know, I don't know, you really can't do much about it besides just perhaps know the area you're going to camp at. It really depends. It's kind of like you wouldn't camp near a cartel known area, right? So, again, we don't know the context, but, you know, I just think of it as outdoor boys who goes camping, right? Not sure what you do in the situation, but probably just leave, not gonna lie. But you got a dog, so, and a gun. I wouldn't if I ever go camping like that and I see a random person, I'd probably just start packing my stuff and go, yep, I'm leaving. I wouldn't stay the night. If this guy stays the night, he's a dumbass. Unless, it depends on the ecosystem, but yeah. If this guy in the story stays for the night, it's over. GG.
I could feel the situation turning wrong. I told him calmly that I was armed. The man slightly laughed and said something about me threatening him instead of inviting him to join me.
What?
And asked where my hospitality was. Then he turned and walked back into the darkness.
Don't stay there.
His footsteps fading into the woods.
Leave. Back up.
I stood there for a long time after that, staring at the trees. Roscoe stayed close to me. I didn't like any of it, but eventually I told myself he was gone.
What?
I put out the fire carefully, throwing snow on it and stirring the ashes until there was nothing left that could glow. I didn't want light drawing attention. I crawled into my tent and sealed it up.
It's over.
Inside, I did everything I could to stay warm.
It's over. Why would you stay? Shouldn't have stayed. It's over. GG. He should. I told him to leave. Why'd you stay? Oh, it's over. He's gonna come back with like 5 more dudes. It's over.
I laid my sleeping pad down to keep the cold ground from draining heat from my body.
By the way, the mic covers the
I stayed fully dressed,
subtitles.
pulled on a knit hat, and cinched my sleeping bag tight around my shoulders. I kept a hand warmer near my core and another near my feet. Roscoe curled up next to me, his body heat helping more than anything. I lay there listening to the woods, or rather, the extreme silence. After a while, Roscoe started growling again. Then I heard what he was growling at. Footsteps in the snow. They stopped and Roscoe quieted, but his ears were still perked up.
Okay, this mic is definitely in the way. I can't even see the subtitles. But it's alright, because from the OBS, it's picking up rather quite well.
Then the footsteps started again, closer this time.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to change the way I see this. I'm gonna have to do it like this, so I can at least see the subtitles. Sorry, it is what it is.
And slower than before. They came right up to the tent and stopped. Roscoe began howling loudly. I whispered for him to stop,
Why?
terrified of drawing attention. When he did stop, he went back to growling. Whoever it was just stood outside the tent. I could hear subtle movement, like the shift of weight in the snow. I had my gun in my hand now,
Nice.
but I didn't want to make threats. I didn't want to be forced to follow through with the threats. I've never actually shot anyone, and I don't think I have it in me to kill someone even in self-defense. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I cocked the gun and said clearly that I had a gun and that whoever was there needed to leave now. But realistically, who else could it have been besides that creepy guy from before? There was silence for a few seconds. Then I heard footsteps again, moving away from the tent. Slowly at first, then faster, before disappearing into the woods.
And if you stay, you're dumb. It's over. Don't stay. Leave.
I didn't unzip the tent to look out. I stayed frozen for hours. Roscoe stayed alert the entire time, which was the only reason I even felt remotely comfortable eventually nodding off. I certainly wouldn't have if I were alone. I barely slept, drifting off only in short bursts. When the sky finally began to lighten, I packed up as fast as I could at the crack of dawn. We hiked back to my truck and drove away. I never went back to that part of the woods again, and I never will. Creeps like that guy really make life scary sometimes, and remind you that you can never really let your guard down.
But you stayed. Should have just hiked back to your car and leave. Who cares if you're tired? You know when you're asleep, you're like, basically... I mean, again, you do have a dog, but like, still. You know, it's like... Should have just left, but yeah. Luckily, you had a gun, so definitely the gun deterred him. Probably the dog. Honestly, to be honest, it's mainly the dog MVP in the story. The dog's definitely the carry here, because the dog will literally protect you. You know. All right, well, that story. Can't really think of a lesson besides just I wouldn't trust a human being because they're most dangerous creatures. Next story, I guess. Not really much to talk about for that one. Alright. Ryan Cumming.
July 4th weekend in 2025. I drove from Melbourne, Florida to Charleston, South Carolina.
Alright, let's do some context researching.
In 2025.
Because we need to know the context.
I drove from
Melbourne, Florida. Let's have a look. Melbourne, Florida. Don't dox my location. Hold on. I swear, if I search up Google Maps, it's gonna dox me, right? If I click Google Maps, let me guess, it goes pinpoint. Yep. Just straight up pinpoint my location. Thank you. Melbourne, Florida. To
Melbourne, Florida to Charleston,
South Country. Charleston. Charlie? South Carolina. What? That's insane. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Look at this. From Florida to South to what? 6 hours.
South Carolina to visit a good friend named Mark I hadn't seen in years. He was there on an internship for his law program and staying in a house in the city. I was visiting for the weekend and spending the night downstairs on a couch by some windows. After a smooth drive,
He actually drove there. That's insane.
I arrived in
What? That's actually insane. 7-hour drive? What? I mean, to be honest, okay, let's be honest though, that's not that bad because I've literally driven 8 hours. But, yeah, I've driven, 4 hours back and forth. So that's 8 hours in total. We have that video on YouTube, Operation Twizel. So, never mind, 6 hours isn't that bad now that I think about it because We have spent a day driving 8 hours before, so never mind. It's not really that big of a deal. Plus, he's staying there.
Charleston, and we played some pickleball before nightfall. When the night settled in, I went back downstairs to the couch by the windows that faced another apartment building and a small labyrinth of alleyways with an abandoned house across the street. The next day, after playing more pickleball in the morning and hanging out, we went to the main Charleston.
The hell's pickleball? Pickleball? What is pickleball? Ah, tennis, badminton, okay.
Market. We walked through it and eventually came out near the docks by the water. That's when we saw him. A man in a wedding suit was shambling down the road near the water. He wore a crisp bow tie and clean dress shoes, and his suit looked freshly pressed. He had long black curly hair and a tan complexion. The market behind us was loud and busy, yet this man moved alone across the street with a slow, detached movement. He didn't notice us and seemed to be in his own world. If we crossed the street, we would have walked straight into him. Instinctively, I wanted to avoid him. I grabbed Mark by the arm and told him we were not crossing. We walked to the right, deeper into the city, and picked up our pace. He was moving slowly, so we created distance easily. I told Mark it was strange and that the guy didn't look homeless. His clothes were too clean, too crisp. Something about him felt wrong. Mark agreed. We kept walking for a while. A few streets later, on another busy stretch of Charleston, we looked toward a shop and saw him again. That same man, with the same shambling movement. He was far down the street, diagonal to us, moving at the same slow pace. Somehow, he caught up to us, even though there was no clear way he could have reached that spot without us seeing him. I pointed him out to Mark, and we both stared. It made no sense. He was in a completely different part of the city, but moving exactly the same way. We pushed it aside and kept exploring Charleston. The next day was July 4th, and that night we watched the fireworks on an island about 20 minutes from the city. By then, we had mostly forgotten about the man in the suit. We assumed he was just some strange person wandering around, but something about him set off alarm bells. It felt out of place, wrong. That night, we decided to go on a ghost tour, which we had already planned before the trip. It was my last night in Charleston on July 5th, and the city was packed. It was a busy Saturday night with crowds everywhere, lights pouring from restaurants, and that historical atmosphere Charleston has after sunset. We finished the ghost tour and walked through the main area of the
What the hell's a ghost tour? What is a ghost tour? A ghost tour is a guided walking tour that explores the city's haunted history.
city, filled with restaurants and nightlife. The street was crowded, and a particular wave of people was moving toward us, and quite fast. As this group approached, both Mark and I noticed something at the exact same moment. It was him, the same man in the same wedding suit, with the same bow tie and the same black curly hair, shambling in the middle of the crowd as if he had been placed there. He stood out instantly. His movement was completely different from everyone else. He didn't blend in. No one around him noticed him. Two people were walking right beside him, and he brushed between them without either of them reacting. He kept the same slow, unsettling pace while the entire crowd moved normally around him. He glanced at us for a brief second, and then continued forward. It was as if he was tied to the movement of the crowd without truly being part of it. Mark and I looked at each other in shock. It made no sense. He didn't belong there, and something in both of us recognized that immediately. We watched him move down the street until the crowd thinned out. When it did, we saw him clearly, still shambling.
What the hell is shambling? Shambling. What is shambling? What the hell is that? What the hell? What have I looked? What have I? What's going on here? Okay, so basically walking like a zombie. Got it.
Still moving at that same unnatural pace, disappearing into a darker side street until he turned a corner. We were quiet, not panicking, but deeply unsettled. The same man in the same suit appearing multiple times in different parts of the city, always shambling, always out of place. Both of us knew something was wrong. Later that night, we returned to the house. Mark went upstairs to his room, and I went downstairs to sleep. I shut the blinds and tried to settle in. At some point in the middle of the night, I woke up to a tap on the window.
What, the man's there?
I froze. After a few moments, I forced myself to look. I lifted the blinds slightly and looked down the alley. At the far end, I saw the back of a man turning the corner. It was him again. He moved out of sight, but right before he disappeared, he looked back toward the window. I told Mark the next morning. I explained what I saw, and even he admitted that the entire experience was disturbing. He doesn't believe in anything paranormal, and he's extremely logical and grounded, but even he was shaken. As for me, I'm more spiritually sensitive, and this experience stayed with me, and I also know it's with Mark months later. We'll never forget that weekend. The man in the suit felt real and unreal at the same time. Something about all of it was off. I drove home to Florida on July 6th, and the image of him turning that corner has stayed with me ever since.
I really can't. That story was like. I really just. What can you say about that? There's so many people in public. That definitely just. Okay, definitely the tapping on the windows. Don't know, man. Not gonna lie. Can't really think about much of that story. That story is really hard to digest because it's like, okay, a guy in a suit walking around. Okay, you see it multiple times in a city. Okay, but it's like the only reason you noticed him is because he was wearing a suit and no one else is wearing a suit, right? But I bet during your few days at that city, you probably saw the same people around, anyways. Can't really explain why the person tapped on the window at the end. How do you exactly know they tapped on your window, though? I mean, yeah, just what can you do about that story? You really can't do anything about that, right? You just, crackheads around the place. I cannot think of anything to do with that story. What can you do about that story? What can you do? His friends probably cooked anyways, right? What can you do? What can you do about that? I really just don't think what can you do? It's like it is what it is. What can you do in that situation? Really can't think of anything to do in that situation, honestly. Because you're in such a big public place, he ain't really doing much to you. He's just walking around chilling. It's like, oh, okay. Cool. Now what? That's kind of a bad story, I'm not gonna lie. Next! Story by AT.
I never thought I would be the kind of person who double-checks door locks or memorizes the sounds of my own floorboards, but that changed after 1 week last winter. I live alone in a small house I bought a few years ago.
Okay, living alone in a small house. Got it.
My routine has been boring and predictable. I work from home, order groceries, go to the gym late at night, and I don't talk to my neighbors much at all. That routine is why it took me longer than it should have to realize something was wrong. It started with a noise I heard around 2:30 in the morning on a Tuesday. I was half asleep on the couch with the TV still on low.
Why are you sleeping on the couch?
When I heard what sounded like a soft thump near the back of the house.
What?
It wasn't loud enough to scare me, and my first thought was that something had fallen in the kitchen or maybe the house had shifted. We all hear sounds like that in the house or apartment once in a while, right?
Facts.
I muted the TV so I could listen. Nothing else happened. I checked the back door, made sure it was locked, and went to bed.
Let me guess, it's one of those houses that a person can just walk to the back door. Probably. No gate.
The
no
next
fence.
morning, I noticed the back door felt different when I opened it. The deadbolt still worked, but the handle felt loose, like it had been twisted too hard. I made a mental note to fix it later. That night, I went to the gym around 11 p.m. like I usually do. Side note, I like an empty gym, and I got back around midnight to 12:30. As I pulled into my driveway, I noticed my porch light was off, yet I always leave it on. I stood there in my car for a few seconds trying to remember if I had turned it off earlier, then I convinced myself I probably did. Inside, everything looked normal. I walked through every room just doing an innocent little analysis before going to bed, something I had never done before. On Thursday morning, I woke up to my alarm and noticed my phone was at 12% battery. I always charge it overnight, and I clearly remembered plugging it in. The cable was still connected to my phone, but the charger was no longer connected to the outlet. Weird. I told myself,
In that situation, I'd kind of just be like, something's wrong with the power block. Get a new one. It is what it is. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes your power plug just dies out or the cable dies out. So that's... Right now, if I was in a situation, I really see nothing wrong except the fact that the back door is easily accessible. Then that's... Yeah, that's the thing about, like, American houses, right? Or not American, but just some houses, people can enter your back door without even, like no fence or nothing. They could just enter your back door. Matter of fact, they have access to the entire area if they walk in. There's no gate. They can enter your driveway. They can enter your front door. They can enter the back door. No gates, no nothing. Those are kind of dangerous.
I must have knocked it loose in my sleep, but that explanation didn't really make sense because my phone was still on the nightstand, not in bed with me. At that moment, my only explanation was I picked up my phone in the middle of the night, accidentally yanked it off the outlet without realizing, and set it back down. I started paying closer attention after that. That night, I stayed up later than usual, sitting in the dark with the TV off, just listening. Around 3 in the morning, I heard slow thumps coming from the back of the house. Footsteps? I asked myself.
No cameras?
Nah, it can't be. I held my breath, but the thumps seemingly stopped. After a while, I convinced myself the thumps came from outside. I'm in the suburbs, there's of course other people around, even at night. The next day, I found muddy shoe prints on the floor near the back door. The thing is though, the footprints weren't clear. Like I couldn't distinctly make out patterns of the bottoms of the shoes, which made it look like someone tried to wipe them off before walking around. My stomach literally skipped a beat. I stood there staring at them, trying to understand how they got there. I hadn't had anyone over. I hadn't gone outside in muddy shoes.
Where's your compound? Where's your security cameras? Really? You don't even have a security camera? Like, I get that sometimes you're broke enough that you can't, like, put a gate down or something, or maybe your stupid, like, property doesn't have, like, a gate, right? But at that point, you would have cameras at least. No? At least you would have cameras. Especially if you're living alone. Cameras. No? Okay.
I checked the back door again, and this time I noticed faint scratch marks around the lock, like someone had used something thin to pry at it. I called the locksmith and told him I thought my lock was failing. I didn't say anything about the footprints. He replaced the lock that afternoon and told me everything should be fine. That night, I pushed a chair under the back door handle and slept with my bedroom door locked, something I never did before.
Okay. Not gonna lie, think about that. I think that's... Okay, well, given the context, I think maybe locking the door of your bedroom is probably a smart idea. Because that does give you an extra security layer to get to you, right? Because if you have a gate, then you don't really need to do that. But I understand that locking your room is like a second defense. So smart. He replaced the locksmith instantly. So if you can afford that, you might as well afford a camera as well, no? Like if you can afford to change the lock on call a locksmith to replace your lock, then you have enough money to at least buy some kind of security camera. No? Am I just losing my mind at how these stories are just playing out today? Is it because it's 7:30 at night right now? Maybe it's because it's nighttime right now and my energy's basically dead. No, not really, but it's like no security.
Then, I woke up just before 4 in the morning to the sound of something tapping lightly on my bedroom door.
Huh?
It wasn't a knock. It sounded like someone testing the door with their fingertips. I stayed completely still, staring at the door, my eyes burning because I refused to blink. The tapping stopped after a minute, and then I heard soft footsteps moving away. I didn't sleep after that. In the morning, the chair was still under the back door, but the back door itself was unlocked. The new lock wasn't damaged, it had just been turned, and that's when reality truly set in. I wasn't just imagining these things like I thought I was because I was tired. Someone had been inside my house while I was asleep and knew how to unlock the door from the inside. I called the police and tried to explain without sounding insane. They checked the house, looked around the yard, and told me there was no sign of forced entry. But yeah, that was kind of obvious given that I changed the lock. They suggested I might have unlocked the door myself without remembering. I knew that wasn't true, but there was nothing they could do either way. That night, I stayed awake with all the lights on and a kitchen knife on the table in front of me. Around 2 in the morning, I heard something from down in the basement. The basement door, which was just outside of the kitchen, was cracked open. I felt an overwhelming sense of dread wash over me. I stared down the hallway to the cracked open basement door. I walked over to it, peeked down through just what the crack in the door would allow me to see, and I swear it was not my imagination. I saw either at the bottom of the stairs or maybe one of the bottommost steps, the outline of someone standing there. I don't know if they were looking up or not.
I must be losing my mind or something today. Sorry, hold on. I think my mind just blanked because am I just losing my mind, or is this just stupid?
Door, of dread just outside morning, all the lights on and a kitchen knife on the table in front of me. Around 2 in the morning, I heard something from down in the basement.
Basement door.
The basement door, which was just outside of the kitchen, was cracked open.
Huh?
The basement door, which was just outside of the kitchen.
Basement door outside of the kitchen
Was cracked open. I felt an overwhelming sense of dread wash over me. I stared down the hallway to the cracked open basement door. I walked over to it, peeked down through just what the crack in the door would allow me to see, and
I'm confused here. I'm very confused here. Cause didn't he just say, I swear something's
They suggested I might yeah, that was kind of looked around the yard, police, and tried to explain without sounding insane. They checked the house.
Am I losing my mind here or something? But did you just hear what the guy said? Look.
Called the police and
I called the police and tried to explain everything.
Tried to explain without sounding insane. They checked the house.
They checked the house. Sorry, does that not include the basement? I must be losing my mind or something, right? How can you say that the police check your house, and all of a sudden, like near the end of the story, you said that there's a basement? Must be losing my mind, right? I guess that basement doesn't count as a house.
The hallway to the cracked open basement door me to see. or maybe one of the bottom. I don't know if they were looking up or not. When I realized what I was looking at, I slammed the door shut and sprinted out to my car. I sat in my car as I once again called 911. After police showed up a second time, they entered while I waited in one of their cars. They brought him out of the house in handcuffs a few minutes later. He was barefoot and wearing dark clothes that looked like they had been slept in. He didn't look at me once. I just don't think that he noticed me in the back of the car. They put him in the back of the other car and shut the door. I stayed outside while more officers went back in, and I refused to look at the guy in the back of the car. I was actually shaking. Even as I talked to the officers, I was stuttering in shock. It took longer than I expected for them to finish the rest of their search. When one of the officers finally came out, he asked how long I had lived there. I told him a few years. He nodded and wrote something down. He asked what time I usually went to the gym and which nights. I told him. He looked back at the house and told me they found food wrappers and bottled water behind the furnace in the basement, along with a phone charger plugged into an outlet down there. He said it looked like someone had been sleeping on the concrete using old insulation as padding. The man hadn't spoken a word to the officers. The main officer I was talking to told me the likely charges the man would be facing, but that ultimately it would be up to the district attorney. Eventually, they told me I could go back inside. It was days later that I was going through my camera roll to send my friend something when I found a very, very disturbing picture. At first, I had to process how a picture like this could be taken.
There's no way is that a real photo?
It was a picture of me, in my bed, sleeping, taken at 3:11 a.m. It was the same night that I woke up in the morning to my phone being unplugged from the wall outlet.
Did he be trolling
The
a bit?
nightmare became real all over again. I contacted the unit listed on the incident report, and they asked me to come in to digitally transfer the photo for supplemental evidence. I was told that with this photo, he'd likely be facing additional charges such as stalking or even being registered as a sex offender for life. All good things to hear. It doesn't save me, however, from the trauma I'll forever have to live with thinking back.
I'm so dumbfounded at this last story as well. What the how? Huh? You have a basement? How do you not know a guy's living in your basement? How? What? That is actually insane. I'm not gonna lie. That just seems super unrealistic. No. The main thing in the story that just doesn't make sense to me is the fact that in the story he literally said, like, the first time, you know, someone unlocked this thing, right?
I checked the back
Hold on.
up with my bedroom door locked. Something I know. And that's when reality truly set
Where is
in.
it?
I wasn't just imagining the insane. They checked the house.
They checked the house. What do you mean? Did they check inside or just the outside? Must have just checked the outside, right? Okay, they checked the house, looked around the yard, so they didn't check inside. I really don't understand how that just hurts my brain. Like, how is that even possible? I don't even understand how is it possible. How is that even? Is like the basement door like hidden or something? Like, do you just never go into the basement? I'm just losing my mind at this point. I mean, first of all, no security cameras. Second of all, well, yeah, security cameras, right? How is that even? Food wrappers, water bottles. I just refuse to believe that story is real. How is that even possible? How do you have a basement and not check it? Or like, I just don't understand how that's not, how's it? I give up. Let's check the stories, let's check the comments, but this entire video here is just, what was the first one? Okay, first one, should have just left the moment you saw a human. Second story, I don't even know how the hell you're supposed to learn anything from that second story. Like, what the hell are you supposed to do in that second story? Third story, I don't know how the third guy. That's like impossible. Like, how is that even possible? Let's read the comments. The third story is horrifying and keep getting worse, especially the photo makes my stomach drop. The worst part of story 1 is that we never found what breed of dog the Roscoe was. True. The guy in suit, that sounds scary. Yeah, literally, the police searched the house the first time clearly needs retraining. I still blame the goddamn guy. Like, how the hell does that even work? There's something about a dog howling that's unsettling. I don't have a dog. First story always tells you never go camping. Don't ever go in the woods. Second story tells you if you're being stalked by who knows, always call the police. Well, I mean, the third person, he wasn't even stalking you though. You can't really say he was stalking you. Because you only saw him on the last day. The third story just tells me that there are some crazy people out there. Psycho stalkers out there target anyone. Terrible comment section. Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate it for this 3 stories, but honestly, that was just terrible. I'm about to go to sleep. No joke. That was so bad. I just don't understand how the third story happens. Like, I just genuinely have no idea how that even works. Like, how do you not know someone's in your basement? Do you not check it every night? Do you not have like cameras or like? It just doesn't make sense to me. Second story, again, you really can't do much about that second story because it's like you don't even know if you tapped on. Okay, apparently you tapped on your window, but that was it. Sounds like gobbledygoosh to me because you guys went on a ghost tour. Who the hell got? Yeah, second guy's on gobbledygoosh because him and his mate went on a ghost tour, so he's just tripping balls. First story, yeah, when you see it is what it is, you probably just want to leave. But camping with a gun and dog, the first story, the man. Realistically, the only thing he did that was wrong was stay for the night. You know, that was probably like one of the only things he stayed for the night, which is yeah. Yeah, you just stay for the night, you know? Yeah, well, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate it for y'all watching it. I just really can't find any kind of value from this video. It's almost just terrible. If you have a basement at home, check it, I guess, right? If you have a basement at home, just literally just buy like a CCTV camera. You know you can buy that, right? Why don't I help you guys? Why don't I help you guys? PB Tech. I'm gonna shout out to PB Tech because they're G's. Shout out to PB Tech. But look at this. Shout out to Xiaomi as well because I use Xiaomi. Xiaomi? security surveillance. Just buy one of these. Just matter of fact, you don't even need to buy a Xiaomi. You could just search up security camera. Indoor security camera. You could just like look at that chump change. That's straight up chump change. I bet hiring that locksmith cost you more. Just get an indoor camera, right? Got some power. Just put it in a room. You know? Straight up, just chill. I mean, I get putting these in like a living room is depends on your security, right? Or like your concern about whoever accesses the account will see everything, right? But at the same time, if you have the trim in mindset, everyone's watching you anyways, so yeah. Alright, well, I'm just gonna end it there, right? That's it. There's nothing really to say except get security cameras. Try your best to, you know, have a gate. You know, only have one point of entry to your house that's guarded, right? And yeah, just have security cameras, right? And I really can't think of anything else to really say besides perhaps it's because it's nighttime. Perhaps because it's nighttime, I'm just mumbling at this point. I'm just so confused on how the third story happened. Like, whatever. Right, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate it. See you guys next time. Sorry about, well, not really sorry about anything. Alright, bye-bye.